Today, we're tackling a question that, honestly, would have sounded pretty crazy just a few years ago. Is Germany, the powerhouse of Europe, actually on the verge of collapse? We're going to dive in, unpack the symptoms, diagnose the causes, and ask what the future really holds for Europe's economic giant.
I mean, for as long as most of us can remember, when you think of Germany, you think of economic strength, right? It was the engine of Europe, the gold standard for industrial might and financial discipline that, let's be honest, a lot of other countries were pretty envious of. But that engine, it's definitely sputtering now. It's making some really troubling sounds. We're seeing factories shut down, iconic companies actually going under, and you can just feel this sense of anxiety spreading across the country. So the question isn't, is something wrong anymore? No, the real question is, just how bad is it?
All right, so to really get a grip on what's going on, we have to start with the signs, the symptoms of this crisis. And listen, we're not talking about some abstract numbers on a chart here. These are real problems hitting real cities, real companies, and real people every single day. And get this, one of the loudest alarm bells didn't come from some high-level economist. It came from the ground, from the mayor of Essen, a huge industrial city. He said this: most German cities are standing on the edge of bankruptcy. I mean, just let that sink in. He's saying the very foundations of daily life are at risk. And that's not just talk. Here's the number to back it up: 30 billion euros. That's the funding gap, the black hole that German cities and towns are staring into. And you've got to understand, this isn't just some number in a budget. This is a direct threat to things we all count on: schools, buses, hospitals. Okay, and if you think that's bad, the situation for businesses is maybe even worse. Look at this number: 23,900. That's how many German companies are projected to go bankrupt by the end of 2025. To put that into perspective, that's the highest number we've seen in over a decade. It's just staggering. And of course, behind every one of those bankruptcies, there's a huge human cost. We're talking about 285,000 people, employees, who are directly impacted. Just look at Germany's world-famous car industry. 55,000 jobs have just vanished in only 2 years. This isn't just a bump in the road. It's a massive shock to the system. And this crisis isn't stopping at the factory gates. It's hitting people right where they live. 76,300. That's the number of personal bankruptcies we're expecting in 2025. It shows that the financial safety net for regular German families is really starting to fray. We're talking about millions of people who are now struggling with serious debt. So all of this, it just begs the question, right? How on earth did we get here? How did the powerhouse of Europe, the model of stability, end up in such a dangerous spot? Well, the short answer is it's not just one thing. It's more like a perfect storm, a combination of huge shocks from the outside world crashing into problems that have been building up inside Germany for years. This is a challenge to the very DNA of the German economy. So let's break it down. We can really group the causes into 3 big buckets. First, you've got a massive energy shock. Second, there's Germany's total reliance on selling its stuff to the rest of the world. And third, a whole list of homegrown problems that are acting like a brake on the economy. All right, let's start with that energy shock. For decades, the secret sauce for German industry was cheap, reliable gas from Russia. It fueled everything. But then, that supply was suddenly cut off. And boom, energy prices just went through the roof. All of a sudden, it was way more expensive to run a factory in Germany than in the US or in Asia. And just like that, one of their biggest advantages, gone. Almost overnight. Okay, at the very same time, Germany's whole economic model, which is built on exports, took a huge blow. The rest of the world's economy started to slow down, so fewer people were buying German cars and machines. But the real game changer here is China. China used to be one of Germany's best customers. Now China is a direct competitor, making its own high-tech goods and, frankly, often selling them for less. And then, to make matters even worse, you've got all the problems at home. We're talking about a mountain of red tape, high taxes, and getting anything approved takes forever. It just makes it harder for companies to want to invest there. Throw in an aging workforce with not enough young people to replace them, and, well, you've basically got the perfect recipe for economic gridlock. So when you add all of that up, it becomes really clear this isn't just a temporary slump that's going to fix itself. Germany is standing at a major crossroads. This is what people mean when they call it a structural crisis. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from a major political leader, Friedrich Merz, says it all. When a politician admits out loud that it's not just economic weakness, but a full-blown structural crisis, well, you know it's serious. It means the entire way the economy is built is now being questioned.
But hold on. Does all this mean a total collapse is a sure thing? Not necessarily. Let's not forget what Germany still has going for it. A massive industrial base, some of the best engineers on the planet, incredible infrastructure, and some experts do think a small recovery is possible. The big debate now is, will that be enough to turn the ship around? And really, this brings us to the two roads ahead for Germany. Path number one, they go through some deep, probably painful reforms. They invest a ton of money to completely reinvent their economy for the 21st century. The other path, they kind of just muddle through, leading to years of stagnation, slowly losing their edge and dealing with a lot more social tension.
You know, for decades, all of Europe looked to Germany to be that solid anchor, the stable center. But the choices being made in Berlin right now will decide if that's still the case. Will Germany pull through and remain that anchor? Or are we all about to enter a much more uncertain future for the entire continent? That, really, is what's at stake here.